Empower Nation. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. I'm your host, Angela Duncan, speaker, best-selling author, serial entrepreneur. We talk all things money and business. Today's episode, I am running solo. Wanted to talk a little bit about FICO credit. I did an episode recently talking about the difference between FICO credit scores and your insurance credit scores, because I did own a insurance agency for 5 years, and it is a little bit different between the two. But I wanted to then dedicate one episode to talking about your credit score. I think it's something that a lot of people need to know but don't always understand. And I want to give you some tips on improving your credit, things not to do, and then just some general information to help you make sure that you are utilizing your credit as best as possible, because it does affect a lot of rates in your everyday life. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the 5 things that can help boost your credit score. Obviously, paying your bills on time will help boost your credit score. When you don't pay your bills on time, that could have an adverse effect on your credit score and bring your credit score down. So when we look at your payment history, it's a big part of your credit score is whether or not you're able to pay your bills on time. Most times, credit agencies are not notified unless you're 30 plus days late. So if you're not able to make that deadline, do your best to make at least the minimum payment within that 30 days after, because then that's when you'll get reported to your credit agency as having a late payment. You also want to keep your utilization low. What does that mean? So say, for example, your credit line is $10,000. The lower you can keep on that card, the better the utilization number is. Yep, I can say that word, but it's how much of your credit you're using versus how much is available. Another part of your credit score is how old are your accounts. Newer accounts can hurt your credit score, but if you want to boost and keep your credit score, some of those older credit cards that perhaps you're not using, do not shut them down. Keep them, monitor your credit, but the length of history of your credit also affects your credit score. So the longer you have a credit card, the better it helps your credit. And having a diverse mix as well. So credit card, all auto loans, home mortgages, things like that, all can help boost your credit score. And making sure that you regularly check your credit reports. I think it's annualcreditreport.com gives you your report free every year. So double check that, make sure all the information there is accurate. You know, with the hackers nowadays, always get nervous about someone stealing my information or my credit card and then grabbing something that's not authorized. So check your credit score at least annually. One of the things that, we get so busy in our, you might have multiple credit cards or multiple things that come due. It's a good idea for you to set up automatic payments. Some things that I do with my bank is if a bill comes available, then I have authorized it for an automatic payment. That way I'm not missing my payments, especially when it comes to like utility bills. The mail may not be super reliable, or email, or you get busy and you forget, or you accidentally delete something. So putting your bills on autopilot will help you maintain that credit score. If you are in credit card debt, put a strategy together and get out of credit card debt. With interest rates almost 30% with the time of this recording, that's insane for someone to be paying 30% interest on a credit card. So work on a plan, whether that's to pay off the smallest balance first or the highest interest rate credit card first. Work a plan and just tackle that. Do your best to get out of debt, create some more income, work a side job, night job, something, but get out of credit card debt. And the number of new credit card applications. So say, for example, you just moved, right? And so you get a credit card for like furniture or something else, a couple of them like a Best Buy, and then you get furniture. So if you're getting multiple new credit cards, that will hurt your score. So either try and pace them out or just pick one card and then utilize that credit card for whatever your new purchases are. Becoming an authorized user. So this is a tip that I recommend for my parents out there that perhaps have a teenager. Maybe your teenager is driving. You can add them as an authorized user on your credit card, and that will help their credit score. Or say, for example, you're just getting started off, or you need to improve your credit score. Someone else that has a credit card could add you as an authorized user to their credit card, and that will help you increase your credit score as well. As long as you're following the other rules, which is making your payments on time and not going over your credit line. But that can help boost your credit score if you're unable to get a credit card by yourself. So some tips to avoid so that you don't hurt your credit score is to avoid large purchases on one card. And we talked about this a few minutes ago about the utilization. So say, for example, you do go to that furniture store and you apply for that credit card and they give you a $10,000 limit. Then you go and you get kitchen and you get living room and all of these other things, and you're utilizing most of that $10,000 limit. Well, that's going to hurt your credit because you're utilizing most of what's available. So when you're thinking about making larger purchases, think about which card you're going to be charging for. If you can't write a check or pay cash, then look at the credit limit and make sure that you're picking wisely. You can also negotiate with creditors. So say, for example, you're falling behind on payments, or something happened with your credit, it got stolen, then contact that credit card company, have a conversation with them and see what they can do. Maybe they can payments that are due right now, perhaps they can waive one of the late fees, maybe they can take that interest rate and lower it for you because it went up due to some missed payments. You never know. So call them and get someone on the line that has some authority and can make some decisions for you, and see if you can negotiate at all with that credit card company. One of the other things that I don't recommend that you do is to co-sign a loan. So if you have to, I understand sometimes, but as a parent, co-signing a loan for a child or co-signing it for a partner that you're not married to, think about that, because if something happens to that relationship, you're on the hook for that loan. I heard recently, I was talking to someone who co-signed a car with their daughter, who ended up not being able to pay it for 4 months. So not only did it hurt her credit score, but it hurt his credit score as well, because she was not making payments on it and he was not aware that that was happening. So that damaged his credit score. And when something like that happens, it takes a long time for you to get that credit score back up. We talked about late payments and missed payments, 30 days plus. If you do miss a payment or if you're late 30 days or more, that's going to adversely affect your credit score and hurt it. And credit score is one of those things where it's much easier to hurt your credit score and it takes longer for you to get it back than it is to improve your credit score, because one missed payment could drop you like 50 points. So really important for you to pay attention to what's going on with your finances and then plan accordingly. One of the things that I look at often with clients too is the 0% offers. Want to make sure you're reading that fine print, because if you do utilize that 0%, it should be on a card that does not currently have a balance and a card that you're not going to use for anything else, and make those automatic minimum payments every month so that you don't miss it, because once you miss it, that offer goes out the window and you're paying your full interest rate, and you don't want to do that. So hopefully those are a couple tips that help you with your credit score. I had to take some notes there because I didn't want to miss any of those key points to you. But if you ever have questions, make sure you're reaching out to me. I do check my messages on Facebook and Instagram. Empower Her Money is my Instagram handle. And thank you so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to like this podcast, follow Empower Her Money on all your streaming podcast platforms, share it, and please leave that 5-star review. It definitely helps me to reach a bigger audience so that we can help empower and impact other people's lives through financial education and literacy. Thank you for listening to Empower Her Money podcast. I am grateful for you. Please make sure to leave us a 5-star review, like this podcast, share it, subscribe, and let's keep teaching others how to take control and be empowered with their finances.